And welcome to the Learning Ladder. Today I thought I'd do a prepping for 6th grade video. I still can't believe it's going to be 6th grade. I know I keep saying that and I sound like a broken record, but there we go. I still can't believe it. It's just crazy. Anyway, prepping for 6th grade. So, things on my to-do list. I already read out my to-do list to you last video, I think it was, but I've had quite a lot since then. So things that mainly was things that I wanted to get accomplished before we break for summer, just because it gets really hot in my house. My house is like a greenhouse. Again, I've said that a million times before. In the summer, it just retains the heat really, really badly, and it can get up to 90 plus and stay there the whole summer. So I don't want to be doing physical things, you know, moving books up to bookshelves and all that kind of stuff, because you just end up with a sweaty mess, and that's not fun. So those were the things I needed to accomplish before the summer. There are a few things that can go over into the summer should they need to, but I'm going to try and get as much done as I can. So the first things that I'm going to do is sort out is Story of the World. So we are cycling back. We're doing Ancient Times and Story of the World. I'm really excited. It's one of my daughter's favourite time periods. So I'm really, really excited to go back into that period of time of history. And I kept, as far as I know I kept a folder with all of the books and everything, all the activities that we did the first time round. So I'm going to see if I can find that folder and go through what we already did and see what we still want to do this time, and then obviously change anything we want to update. And then I also want to go through the books that we're going to do for Story of the World and get them ready so I can put, because I'm going to be moving on my bookshelves soon, not physical shelves but actual books on the shelf. So I want to make sure where possible the books are together. So for example, the ancient history books we're going to be reading on them to be all together, just easier to find them. So I want to go through Guest Hollow's junior geography, print out anything that we need to print out, because she has multiple printables throughout that you need to print, so I need to do that. So that's what we're going to do first. So let's get started. Next on my list of prepping for 6th grade is to empty out our work boxes, file away anything that I need to file away, and then start filling them with our new stuff. I finished off some graph paper that I'm going to make into our 6th grade math workbook to go along with Saxon. I'm doing bits and bobs throughout the past couple of weeks, more than a couple of weeks, several weeks, to get ready for 6th grade. I did have to pause because we had a heat wave here, and I just didn't want to do all the heavy stuff I had to do. So I have pretty much accomplished quite a lot of that, and yeah. So it was pram day yesterday, and I did get a couple of things. You can probably see right here. I'll be doing a haul soon, and they'll be in the haul. I only got a couple of bits. I didn't think it was that good. Let me know, did you get any good bargains on Prime Day? There were a few things, but I only really wanted what was in my basket to be on sale. I didn't really want anything else. So sadly there wasn't a lot, but the two things that were in my basket that I really wanted were on sale, so that was good. To do with the watercolors, which you can probably see in front of me, weren't hugely reduced, but a little bit, you know, every little bit helps, doesn't it? So I got those reduced. I'll show you those in my, as I said, in my haul. We are, as I said, on summer break now. We've been on summer break now for the past week. It's been really nice, except we have had several things go wrong, as is always the case. So the first week of summer break I got really sick with this infection. I woke up, well, it started where the side of my face really hurt, you know, like how it feels sometimes when you're getting a cold, and I thought, oh no, I'm getting a summer cold just as we finished for summer break. But then the next day it was still really, really painful. Just on the whole side of my cheek really hurt, as I said, that feeling like you're getting a cold. And then about 2 days later I woke up and I had a giant lump on my face, and I was thinking, what the heck, you know, have I been bitten by something? Or, you know, it wasn't like a spot, it was like an actual lump. And then as the day progressed, and then the following day it got bigger and bigger in terms of my face started to swell. So all on one side of my face started to swell. It moved up all to my eye because it was on my cheekbone, and it moved all the way up to my eye, and my eye was starting to bruise because of the fact it was so swollen. I have no idea what happened, whether I got bit by something. I did see a spider on my bed at one point, but it just looked like a regular house spider, so I don't think it was that. So I have no idea what happened. I just looked like a puffer fish with a black eye, and it was awful. It was very painful as well. And then the worst part was the gross part, and that's once it started to there's no nice way of saying this, drain. So all the infection started to drain out of the lump, which was absolutely gross. I was just putting tons of pseudocreme on, which has got zinc oxide in, which is really good for bacterial stuff. Because I didn't want to go to the doctor, because I knew I'd be there for hours and hours and hours at the walk-in centre, because as you all probably know, getting an appointment at your GP here is nigh impossible unless you are very, very lucky. I really didn't want to do that. I remember with my hand, when I hurt my wrist, I was at the walk-in centre for 6 hours, I think it was, in total, and I just wasn't going to do that. So I just thought, you know, just playing it day by day, seeing if it got any worse as each day went on. So it's kind of peaked the day after it happened, and then started to, as it was draining, going down and down and down. So that was good. So I decided I was just going to wait it out, because it wasn't getting any worse than it had already peaked at. And eventually it just drained itself out. So I have no idea what the heck that was all about. I really want to take antibiotics unless I absolutely had to. And the fact that it was getting better by itself with just the pseudocreme was fine with me. So it just eventually went down completely, and the swelling went down. I still look like a tiny bit like I've got a bit of a bruise under one of my eyes, but other than that, back to normal. So that was crazy. I don't know what happened with that. Then we went on our first summer field trip, which was really fun. We went to a castle, and I've never been to this castle before, and it was apparently one of the most haunted castles in the UK, which wasn't the reason we were going, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay. We watched this video all about it, and my daughter was intrigued. And then it was absolutely beautiful, the surroundings. It was way in the middle of nowhere to get there. I don't know, the satellite navigation took us through the middle of nowhere. Literally, it looked just mountainous fields and lots of sheep with no fences. That's how I can describe it. The sheep were literally on the road. You just have to beep or just drive really slowly, and it was really windy with hills, really steep hills. And going, it wasn't so bad. The car was okay, but when we finished at the castle, which was absolutely gorgeous and the grounds were amazing, we went up this gigantic hill which was so steep, and Arnold's the car, and he's how old? He's a 2008 reg, so he's getting on now. He just couldn't. He just was really struggling, and by the time we got up the hill and we were going on the next bend of the road, I could smell something like it was burning. There was no engine lights on or anything, but I could smell burning, and I was thinking, oh, it's probably the car in front, because there was an old camper van, 2 cars in front of us, and I'm thinking, oh, it's probably just them. And then as we go across this other bend, suddenly he just stops completely in the middle of nowhere, in the place I just mentioned, with the fields and mountains and sheep and nothing else there. And he just completely stopped. So we waited a minute or two, because there was no other cars passing or anything, and we couldn't get any signal on the phones. No one could get signal on any of their phones, because we're all on the same network, obviously. So no one could get any signal, and we're thinking, oh no, what are we gonna do? And then suddenly this man out of nowhere just suddenly came down the hill and stopped, and he was really, really kind, and he offered to tow us to a better position, because we weren't exactly blocking the road, but we kind of were. Cars could get past, but it was a bit of a squeeze. But you literally did not want to be there when it was dark, because there was no street lights at all, so you would have been in the pitch black, apart from obviously if Arnold's lights were on, and that would have drained the battery eventually. So he offered to tow us to a better position, and we rang the recovery. We have a recovery service to come and get us. They said it was going to be 5 hours before they could come and get us. But he was going to take us to this car park, which was a bit further up. So it would have been the same scenario in terms of no street lights or anything, but we just wouldn't be blocking the road. So with it being dark, you obviously don't want other cars to hit you scenario. But as he got his ropes out and everything to tow us. As we were getting the ropes out, the car suddenly Arnold decided to go. So we were so relieved. So Arnold went about quarter of a mile and then broke down again, completely stopped again. He was overheating. He broke down again, and a bit further up, but we hadn't cancelled the rescue service. We just, because they were going to be 5 hours anyway, we were just going to see how far he went. So he broke down, as I said, about half a mile up again. But again, we waited 10-15 minutes for him to cool, and then he was off again. And this time because there was no really steep hills, after that point he managed to get us home. So that was amazing. I was so happy. It took us a long time though. It was about 2.5 hours normal time it should be apparently to get there, and that it was about 3 hours going, because these places are always longer than what you think to get there, and we didn't stop. So about three hours going, and then coming home it was about 4.5 hours. And we'd taken some of our dogs but not all of them, so it was a long day. Absolutely, it was a great day up until that point though. But then obviously now we've got to sort out Arnold, which is more money. But you know, that's what you get when you have an older car. We're just trying to see how far we can get with him, because I don't want to replace him yet. We don't, you know, I'm just trying to keep him going as long as possible, until we can afford to get another one. But he managed to get us home. We're just not going to go on any windy bend roads for right now, just straight motorway roads until we think he needs a timing belt fix, and then hopefully he'll be good to go for a little bit longer. So that's Arnold. Then before we went to the field trip to the castle, I noticed Jace, when I was stroking him, I found a little lump on him, and I looked at it, and it was very small, and it was just under the skin. So I was thinking, okay, it's a bit strange, but maybe it's just he's 6, he's almost 6. I thought, sometimes dogs get cysts as they get a little bit older. It looks okay, I'll just mention it to the vet next time we go. Then when we came back from the field trip, the cyst was gigantic. It swelled in just those few hours. And then the next day when I looked at it, because that was a Sunday, and then the next day on the Monday morning when I looked at it, it was red underneath. It wasn't like that the first day, and I started panicking, because there's a very horrendous cancer that dogs can get, especially if they're white skinned with white fur with pink skin, and it is horrendous. And when I was googling the images of it, it looked very, very similar, although not identical, to this red lump that he had, and I was so absolutely petrified. I love Jace to pieces. He is an angel, literal angel in a dog's body, and he's not ready for that yet. He's got plenty of life left to live yet, and he doesn't deserve that, because he's in literal it is an absolutely horrendous condition. I know all cancer is horrible, but that particularly is nasty. Can kill them in a matter of 2 weeks. It reminds me very much of my mum's cancer, because hers was the same. She died just over 4 weeks from diagnosis. So it was just to think 2 weeks and then he could be gone, and a very horrific end to someone's life. That disease is. So I think it's called hemorrhagic sarcoma, something like that. But anyway, it's awful. So took him to the vet. I was literally in tears for most of that night, because I was imagining, all these scenarios, as you do. But that morning when I took him to the vet, it actually burst and it was just bleeding. And again, that was making me scared, because that's what they do just before it's getting to the end. But I took him to the vet, and she examined him, and while she was examining it, she was squeezing it, so kind of lancing it, and lots of pus came out, and the relief in the room from everybody was just immediate, because clearly it was an infection. So we were all so relieved, and the vet was making a joke how he'd written Jace off, and I was just thinking, okay, well, if she can joke about stuff like that, then it's clearly okay. So he got prescribed antibiotics and pain medication, which he's on, and it was looking much better every single day. So that is such a relief. And I have no shame in admitting I adore my dog, and I'd be devastated, as would my daughter, if anything happened to him. And I know that nobody lives forever and everything, but nobody deserves that end, especially at just turned, well, he's not even 6 yet, 6 next month. So I'm so relieved. I mean, she said she's 99% sure it's nothing. There's always that small chance, but it's looking much better. So I'm gonna go on the positive side, because that's the only way I want to look at it. So fingers crossed everything's okay with him. But yeah, that's been our 3 things, hopefully nothing else. The start to the holidays. But that castle is absolutely amazing if you ever go. It's called Muncaster Castle, but as I said, it is in the middle of the nowhere, but the grounds are absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. Definitely recommend it. It's not the most it's not the biggest castle, but the grounds make up for it. They are fantastic, and there's a little maze, and there's eagles and hawks. They do a little display. You can actually see them close up, and owls, but they'd had a case of bird flu in the area, so you weren't allowed to get too close as you normally would, so you couldn't go up to their cages or anything, but you could see them from a distance, and they were able to fly them under these strict regulations protocol, but you had to sit quite far away. But that was fine because we had to go in the dog zone anyway. So but yes, that was a lovely trip. But we are, as I said, on break now. I've been reading a ton. I have been taking advantage of Kindle Unlimited because I got a 3-month free subscription, so I've been reading a ton of books on Kindle Unlimited. I prefer physical books, but when it's free, then that's great. So I've been really enjoying reading time. We've been doing our summer school, so all the stuff I showed you, it's been going really well. And we've been doing our hats, which have been so fun, and then the castle was the one that came out for our weekend hat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link the video below, my summer homeschool plans. But yeah, it's been really good. So okay, so I completely forgot to film, but basically there were 3 piles of books in this section. So there was all the Dragon Academy books. I put them all onto one shelf. There was all the Beowulf geography books. I put them all into one shelf. And then other books I've scattered everywhere. So it's not completely in order, although those 2 shelves are. I've still got to sort the rest out, which is going to be a different day. But I feel so much better about the fact that I've got those piles off the floor. Okay, so I just got 2 things for curriculum for next year that I hadn't shown you in my curriculum video because I was waiting to see if they would go on sale, and they have, so that's good. So I got 2 things from the Critical Thinking Company. One of them was Critical Thinking Detective, and then the other one was Word Roots. So yes, I'm really excited to use those, so I just need to get them printed and bind them and stuff, and I'll show you them. I ordered those 2 items I told you about, and from the Critical Thinking Company, and now I need to do my last Amazon bits and bobs that I need to get, and also I need to do some stationery, so paper and things like that, order. I'll show you all those in a separate haul though. And I've just noticed there's a pile of books there that I have not put away, so I need to put those away on my shelf. So left to do for prepping for 6th grade is I need to sort out my main shelf here, so I just need to reorganize it and make new labels for the ones that have changed or labels have fallen off. So I've just noticed that the chair's wet because I just cleaned it about where are we now? It's almost 7 o'clock, so about 3. No, it wasn't even 3. It was before then. It was about 12ish. I cleaned the chair, so it's taken ages and it's still wet. I thought it'd be dry by now, but it's not. So I cleaned the carpets, which was on my list. I've cleaned the curtains. So the things that I've got to do left, as I said, I have got to organise my shelf. I have got to print off the new items that I purchased, which were from the Critical Thinking Company, and bind them. I need to sort out, come on Shadow, I need to move everything in, come on Shadow, come on, you're in the way. I need to put everything in the work boxes for the first week, but I won't do that yet. I will wait until closer to the time of us going back to school. So that's sort of the last 2 weeks before we start back. I'll do that. I have taken everything old out in there, but I haven't put all of the new stuff in, so I need to do that properly. But I'll wait. That can be a last 2 weeks holiday sort of thing. I might do it earlier, I don't know, we'll see. So that's the thing that I need to do. I need to put those books away that I've just noticed on the shelf. I can't believe I managed to completely miss them. And I need to wash the cushions on the floor that are by our little library cushions, tidy up her desk, put the new stationery out, and that's about it really. Oh, and there's another bookshelf over there. I need to organise that as well. And I've got my pile of binders on the floor that I need to organise, and my area over here. So there's still quite a lot, but a lot of it is done. It's just a few last minute bits and bobs. So I feel good about it. Oh, plan my first week of school. My plan's all ready to go, which is fantastic because I showed you in a previous video how I decorated my planner. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's only, what day is it? It's the 16th of July. So, but we went out. I told you we were doing the hat for our summer bucket list. So today was to go to Marks and Spencer Cafe. So we went there, had our meal. It wasn't great though, to be honest, which is normally really good, but for whatever reason we waited 45 minutes for our food and it still hadn't arrived. We went to inquire, you know, really patient, but we went to inquire because my daughter had almost finished hers and we still hadn't had ours. And they said, oh, sorry, we have no sandwiches left, because we ordered afternoon tea. They had no sandwiches left. You'll have to pick whatever's left in the fridge. So there was only a very, very small choice. So there was egg and cress and pretty much seafood. That was it. So, okay, that's fine. So just pick whatever we wanted. She said, oh, you can have a free drink of orange or whatever you'd like because of the fact that it's taken so long. Okay, so go back to our table. They eventually bring the food, and with the afternoon tea you're supposed to get sandwiches, scone, and a variety of different types of cakes, and they only brought one type of cake and these little cinnamon biscuit things, which are horrible, but that's what you normally get and we just don't normally eat those. So I'm like, okay, let's not say anything, we'll just eat and go. It's ridiculous, but we decided to just inquire, you know, was there anything. So we inquired, you know, what happened to the rest of the stuff. Bearing in mind this is not a cheap thing, and they said, oh, you had your free drinks because of the fact that we didn't have those cakes. And I was thinking, no, we didn't. We got the free drinks because we waited 45 minutes and there was no sandwiches. But anyway, it's just like, whatever, okay, fine. So that wasn't the best. But then on the way home, we broke down again. And then we managed to get on going again, the car, and then we broke down a second time. This time we called the RAC because we were actually really close to home. So we walked home and then phoned the RAC to come and bring him. So they came and towed him back, and they've told us what's wrong with him now. So we have to sort out getting that fixed. But then he also needs to have his timing belt done, which apparently is a massive big job. But if you don't get it done, I think it's the timing belt. I'm not very good with mechanics. I think it's a mechanical car issue. I'm not very good with cars, but I think it's the timing belt. That's not the problem. The problem is crankshaft sensor. But he also needs to have his timing belt fixed. Not fixed, but a new one, because he's reached almost 80,000 miles. And if you don't get it done, then it can completely destroy your engine. But it's a real expensive thing. So we were trying to wait to get that done. But now obviously there's the crankshaft thing issue. So it's like, oh my God. That's the thing with older cars, but it's better than getting a loan, kind of, because used cars are so expensive. But at the same time, it's just like, anything else want to break, you know? Pile it all on. So yes, that was not fun. But anyway, let's get back to organizing. But I think I'm going to leave it in this video for now, and in the next video I'll show you the haul of the things I purchased. And then I got my letter from the education department, you know, requesting their report for what Alana's going to be doing for school this year, and that's, you know, that's fine, that's normal, that's what I expect. But it said this was the second letter that they sent to me, and if I didn't respond within a certain amount of time, they would assume she wasn't getting an education and they would take me to court. And I'm thinking, one, I haven't had a first letter. This is, you know, this is the only letter I've received, and just don't want people to home educate. They hate the fact that people do and people choose to, and that's why they're so nasty and horrible. And you know, they're supposed to support. They don't. You know, it's just, oh, if you don't respond, we assume that she's not getting an education and we'll take you to court. Instead of, well, maybe I didn't get the letter. I mean, could that be a possibility in their heads? No, apparently not. You know, because I didn't. I've never ever not sent the information when requested. So why just suddenly assume that she's not getting an education because I didn't respond to a letter I never received? I can't understand why they are so hostile to people who home educate. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why be like that? It's just not necessary at all. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.